Hi guys, my name is Pin and you're watching Rappler. In this episode of Rappler Talk, we'll be talking to Josh de la Cruz. He is the host of Nickelodeon's Blue's Clues and You, Q Blue. And on May 14, a special episode wherein Josh introduces Blue and his viewers to his Lola premieres in the Philippines. In this episode, we'll be talking to Josh about the upcoming Blue's Clues episode, how he's been adjusting to the role, and what representation means for him. We'll also be showing you a few clips from the episode that will premiere on May 14 yet, so stay tuned for that. I hope you enjoyed the interview as much as I did. Thank you for watching. This has been Bea and Blue. Hi, Josh.
Hi, how are you?
Kamusta?
Mabuti. Kumusta ka po?
Ito, okay lang naman. Nagiging blue na yung book. But anyway, so it's been almost 2 years na, no, since it was first announced that you would be Blue's new buddy. Has it sunk in?
No. I don't know if it'll ever sink in for me. I have such a good time at working, especially with the people that I get to work with every day, that I am constantly in fear that this is some dream that I'm going to wake up from. To be able to work on this show that is aimed at helping kids, and I get to play and be silly and celebrate pieces of my heritage and my culture is so incredible. And I'm it sometimes it sinks in, but thankfully, because it's such a small set and I have such a targeted audience, I can walk outside and nobody knows who I am.
You have like 5-year-olds freaking out when they see you, I guess, in public.
Oh, it's so funny. Usually I'll get one of two reactions. They'll either be like, "Oh, you're Josh," or I'll get a look where they're like, "What are you doing out here?"
Why are you in normal clothes? Like, why aren't you?
Where's Blue?
Okay, speaking of Blue, because I watched the episode that we will be talking about in a few minutes, and while I was watching it, I guess because it's been literally decades since I last watched Blue's Clues, as the target audience, it just sank into it. I just realized then how big a role it played in my childhood, and how Blue's Clues is a core memory of mine. Like when I was watching you in that episode, it was like I had flashbacks to my own childhood. So this is a pretty loaded question, but how does it feel? Like when you think about how you're gonna be a core memory, for kids born in the 2010s and the 2020s, like you will be, like you're Josh, you're the Josh for them.
I'm honored. I'm honored to be able to be in this role, in this capacity, especially in one that is so beloved, that already has a following. What's amazing about our show is that parents can share a piece of their childhood with their kids in a completely new way, in a way that is both nostalgic for them and completely new. And so, it feels amazing to be able to do that and to be here for kids. I do sometimes, when I first got the job, I was completely nervous. I was, because I didn't want to mess up, It's such an important show for me as well as my little sister. I still remember sitting on my tita's rug. It was a pink rug, and we'd watch Blue's Clues at her house because she had cable, and so she would watch us, and we would watch Blue's Clues for my little sister. And I remember drawing a paper cup, and then on set, 20 some odd years later, my first clue that I'm drawing on day one is a cup. And it's so wild to me because I never saw that for myself. I never saw myself reflected on television in a way that I connected with. We're growing up, we were the foreigner, the villain, the joke. And so I never saw that for myself. And now to be in this capacity, as somebody that also identifies as a male, to be able to be silly, to be able to talk about their feelings and to ask for help. And these are things that I feel so lucky that I get to share that with kids, and that you can be comfortable with your feelings, you can ask for help, and that kindness and being silly doesn't have to be something that you only do as a kid.
It didn't actually occur to me. I didn't quite appreciate, of course, when I was much younger, how the show made you feel empowered as a kid. That sounds really silly, but when
No.
I was watching it, I was like, oh my gosh, like the show actually allows the kid to have a say. Um,
Mhm.
in your adventure with Blue. But what has been the biggest adjustment so far?
Uh, oof, the biggest adjustment. At first I thought it was the green screen, and many parts of it is the green screen, because there's nothing there. I get a tennis ball and pieces of tape on the floor. But when we have so many people on set that are so prepared and to help me see this world. And then on top of that, I went to school as a theater actor. And if
Right.
anybody has gone to school as a theater actor or has done theater, unless you're doing a show that has a lot of money behind it, you don't have any props. You don't have any set. You're
Right.
just in a blank room, an empty room. And so I was like, oh, I know how to do that. But I guess the thing that has been not difficult, but the thing that I had to get used to was the schedule. Just
Mm.
being to keep my energy from at always there, and to keep being specific and to keep being genuine from 8 to about 6, because I'm the only person on screen. That has taken some adjustment. And like, what do I need? What do I need to do? How do my mornings before I get to work need to look like? And then what is my maintenance and upkeep? A lot of people, when I was in theater, we used to do talkbacks with audience members,
Right.
and they're like, does it feel like it's what does it feel like work? I was like, no, like sometimes it feels like work when I'm injured or sick, but really the work part is the maintenance of it all. So like before I ever get to the theater, like making sure I go to the gym or go to physical therapy, and take care of myself. And so figuring out what my maintenance routine is, that's what took some adjustment.
What's your routine now with
Uh,
with this job?
yeah, so I will wake up. We'll start at the beginning. I'll wake up around 4:30 in the
Oh
morning,
my
and then
god.
I'll like make coffee, because I have to be in the chair at 8 o'clock in the morning. If my makeup artist is watching, it's usually like 8:05, 8:10. But so I'll wake up at 4:30. I'll make my coffee, and then while I'm drinking my coffee, I'll catch up on emails, but then start reviewing the script for the day. And then after I finish my coffee, I'll work out. So I'll either do some like strength training, and then some I'll always do yoga in the morning. And then if I have time, I'll do some cardio. Then I'll get into the shower, and usually when I'm doing cardio, I'll be on an elliptical, so I'll go over lines while I'm doing that. Then I'll take a shower, and then I'll go to the studio, go to work, and then once I'm done with work around 5:30, 6 o'clock generally, um, I'll go back home. I'll have dinner. I'll take a shower. I'll relax, wind down. Because of the pandemic, thankfully, my wife is able to be here with me, so we'll spend time together, and then get ready for bed, and then I'll just I'll highlight my lines for the next day, and kind of go over the beats and what needs to be prepared. If I need to do any more prep, I'll do that before bed, but then I'll go to bed and then start it all over again. And then usually what I'll have to do on the weekend is take some more time for myself to catch up on rest and work on some things. I'll also I have therapy once a week, just to I work out my body, and I got to make sure that my mental health is good as well. And
Right.
so that's generally what I'll do during filming.
Yeah, because that's super important, because I feel like you share your energy with your audience, and especially because your audience are children. Like, I think they're a little more perceptive than perhaps like adult audiences,
Oh
right?
yeah, especially children. They'll let you know what they're feeling. If they haven't figured out how to say it, they'll get there. But again, that's part of our show. We're trying to empower kids and get them ready. And so how can you truly empower a kid unless you give them a chance to speak? And so that's why our show is so groundbreaking, because we wait for the answer, and it's such an exhilarating feeling.
This is a very minor aside, but I don't know if you're on TikTok, but I saw TikTok like the other day or a few days ago. Millennials were freaking out how now it's you. We just got an email and not a letter. People were losing their mind. I don't think I think these are things that make you realize you're old. But anyway, okay. So talking about the episode that will be premiering in the Philippines on May 14. Like, how did you react when you found out about this episode? And how does it feel to introduce concepts and ideas from Filipino culture in a platform like Blue's Clues and You?
I'm so proud, and I'm so excited for people to meet my Lola. I get to introduce the world to my Lola. The actor Carolyn Faye is incredible, and the fact that now we're working Lola into the English lexicon. Growing up, I knew that Nona meant grandma. I knew that grandma meant grandma, and now kids know, oh, Lola, that means grandma, and we get to share that and be proud and share our culture. It's such an amazing thing, because I didn't see that on television growing up. And now I hope that this continues to empower kids growing up, that yes, they are different, but that's great. That's a good thing, not a negative thing.
Right.
And so, we're all about empowering kids. And this is something now we get to not just empower kids, but empower parents and empower other people to be proud of who they are and where they come from, and to empower them to explore that. Where did they come from, and what does that mean?
It's it's strange, because when I watched the episode, I didn't expect to become emotional over Bibingka, and a show that's targeted towards 5-year-olds, right? So that was a little surprising for me, but I think it speaks a lot about, like what you mentioned earlier, the value of seeing yourself on a platform as huge as Blue's Clues. Which leads to my next question. You've been very active in speaking out against AAPI hate. Aptly enough, it's AAPI Heritage Month in the US. How have you been processing what's been happening the past year? Actually, decades, but like especially the past year.
Exactly. That it's so well put. It's like, yes, it's the past year, but it's not something that just happened.
Right.
Ignoring our presence is also an active choice to made by a history long a choice that's happened forever. And so I think it's important for me to take breaks, to stay informed, but also to take breaks, to not just like completely ignore what's going on, but to explore what's going on without having to feel the pressure to say something. You always need to say something, and like if you see something, you have to say something, and you have to use your voice, and you have to use your platform. But if you don't have anything intelligent to say, or if you don't have anything to add to the conversation, it falls on your responsibility to find out and to have a point of view and to learn about why this is so important. Why is this not just something that happened in 2020? Why is this something that has been happening? And so, I've been doing research online. I've been talking to friends and other organizations. I'm so proud that Nickelodeon, especially for API Heritage Month, like we came out with a nursery rhyme where I get to sing in Tagalog. Like I had to call my mom and be like, "Hey mom, I'm recording this thing tomorrow. Can I sing this to you just to make sure that I don't sound like an idiot? Or sorry, not an idiot. That I don't sound like I didn't practice." because like Tagalog today is mixed with English
Right.
and so
Other
there
Filipino
were words that I
languages.
didn't, yeah, exactly. There were words that I didn't know, and it's so important for me because I have a nephew that's 1, and then so
Right.
we get to sing that to my nephew, and so it's something that is so incredible, and this AAPI Heritage Month, I am learning more about my culture. I'm trying to celebrate and be there. And, I have the benefit. I just started on Cameo. Well, not just 2 months ago, I started on Cameo, and where all the proceeds are going to charity. And so far, we've raised over $11,000 on Cameo, and every dime is going to charity. And this month, we've been able to. Last month, we were able to donate to Stop AAPI Hate, and we're going to continue to do that. And so, there are many ways that you can be active, but I think to come from a place of being informed is one of the most important places. That way, whenever you do speak up, it's much more impactful.
Right. These things, I feel like for a Filipino who lives in the Philippines, like we don't appreciate as much as Asians perhaps living in the US the value of representation because, our local media, we see ourselves on TV all the time. But I think especially now with the, internet, everyone's connected, more kids are exposed to international media, like magtatagalog ako, ang laki ng impact to see someone who looks like you, who calls his or her grandmother the same way that you do, who eats bibingka, alam mo yun. Pero for you, like, given your experience, in theater and then now hosting Blue's Clues, like, what has representation meant for you?
It means anything is possible. I never saw television for myself because I never saw myself. And now we're in an Asian Renaissance where, we have movies, we're being recognized on a large in cinema and being celebrated, not as a foreigner, as a poor foreigner, but as somebody that is proud and unapologetic of who they are. And so to be able to represent in this way, for me, means that anything is possible. And I hope that for kids at home, that means anything is possible as well. And that even if you don't want to be an actor, if you want nothing to do with television, that they realize that just because they don't see themselves reflected in the place that they want to go, that doesn't mean they can't get there and then be the one to open the door for everyone else. It just takes hard work. It just takes kindness, because kindness begets more kindness. I didn't get here by myself. My family sacrificed so much. My teacher sacrificed so much. My friends and my community sacrificed so much and took a chance on me and gave me the space to make mistakes so that I could learn to be the best actor and best person that I can be. And that's something that I'm constantly working on. But this show and being seeing yourself represented means that anything is possible. And I hope that, kids and parents know that anything is possible.
There is space, or if there's no space, they can make that space themselves.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ate. Take care, okay?
You.